when I very first started properly training with barbells, took me literally probably about 7 months to go from squatting 60 to about 120.
Yeah.
And in the 5 weeks here, after a year off of getting really out of shape, rehabbing an injury, I've gone from not being able to back squat to comfortably doing 120, and we don't even know what my upper limit is yet because I haven't completely maxed out. Like,
come on, Kev, let's go. Big breath, come on. Good.
Yeah, so in 2013 in September, I dislocated my shoulder. Kind of popped back in, rehabbed it, everything seemed to be grand. Dislocated it again the next year in 2014 in April, and then basically rehabbed it again. Went back, had a third dislocation in about August roughly of 2014, and then in September I had reconstruction surgery. So that was like a year pretty much of getting injured non-stop and retraining. Then in December I moved away on exchange for college. I never really not properly rehabbed it. I never properly went back to training just because I was a bit frustrated, and also I'd moved away, so I was kind of just relaxing. Then essentially when I got back, it had been the guts of, like, it had been at least a year since I played a game or done any kind of training. Tried to go back to the gym and basically discovered I couldn't back squat properly because I just couldn't get under the bar. My right shoulder, the one that was operated on, was basically too inflexible. Like, it was extremely, basically, if I was to get under a bar like this, no, I couldn't basically rotate my arm to get under properly. Or if I could get it in, it felt extremely uncomfortable, tight and painful.
Did you enjoy back squatting before? Was that something you enjoyed?
Yeah, yeah, of course, absolutely. Like, I mean, it was hugely motivating to be going to the gym, seeing your numbers go up, getting stronger, everything getting better at sports. And it was very frustrating to come back from that, like, 3 or 4 times, working every time to get to the stage you'd already been at is a lot less motivating than kind of breaking new territory, so to speak. And then, yeah, it was just extremely frustrating. And there was a few things I wanted to work on regardless of going back to the state I was. I knew I wanted to get faster and more explosive. Like, my last game was about 14 months ago. It was about 14 months since my last game when I came to see yourself first. And I was just very eager to get back. It was quite frustrating just spending time in the gym, not being able to play, and also realising I was going to be a lot worse when I went back. And then, I knew there was, first of all, I wanted to obviously get back to the stage I was at, and wanted to go beyond that as well. Wanted to get, as I said, more kind of, in general, more kind of functional, more faster, explosive. And I knew roughly how to do that, but not kind of how to properly necessarily program that or do it in a consistent manner. So that's when I first, I suppose, contacted yourself. Yeah. Like, when I came back, I was quite nervous to do anything with my shoulders because the first 2 dislocations I had were like on the field. The third time was actually just doing a light overhead press in the gym. So I was very kind of anxious and nervous to go back. I was just kind of worried what would happen again. Like, I've been told it's fixed, like, but you still feel like, you believe it is, but you still feel quite nervous doing it. Like, so I hadn't done any overhead pressing. I'd only used machines. I was kind of afraid to really go back to doing barbells and stuff. And then we started. I contacted yourself, and when I came back, we got going pretty much straight away. Like, I had friends who'd come to yourself and asked, like, that they were dealing with, say, completely different issues, but they'd recommended you, said, like, they were very happy with what they got. And I liked as well, I knew kind of just from looking at your stuff that you were kind of what I was looking for, in the sense that I wasn't, most trainers, it's like people who have never been in the gym, it's like, oh, I want to get skinny or I want to just put on muscle. I knew you had some knowledge of kind of movement and, optimizing performance in a more kind of, I suppose, scientific way. Not that other trainers aren't scientific, but that kind of very focused approach was exactly what I was looking for. And when we came in, it was very humbling, I suppose, the first few sessions, because I realised I was way more unfit and, like, way weaker than I had been. And but I suppose the good thing was we identified a lot of things I had, like stuff I kind of suspected, like my hips were tight, and we've still discovered my hamstrings are kind of non-existent. We started doing the program, and then before I knew it, I was back squatting within what, four or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And then and then we hit I got the 120 back squat with a high bar. Before, my best had been like a very dodgy 130 for 3, and like that was only the second time I had even done a back squatting session, and that was probably made more progress in them 5 weeks after a year off than I did in like probably training 3 or 4 months by myself. Like, and then we haven't really tested my max bench yet, but it seems to be going up fine. I can actually back squat now as well, which is a plus. And I suppose just going forward, I'll probably be far less prone to injury, because if I address all the little imbalances and stuff, everything should hopefully be in order and tuned up.
So
The approach was definitely focused. Like, it sounds simple, but it was correct. It wasn't beating around the bush. It was direct. It was tough, but I mean, it was definitely worth it. I feel now I'm more stronger. My movement is healthier. It's better. I'm in better shape, and I suspect going forward I will maybe very quickly, within the next 2 months or 3 months, be in the best shape I've ever been in my life. And that's with, you know, I'll do more, I'd say, in the next 3 months than I would have done.
You
in...
said that on video now, so the pressure's
Yeah.
By the way, it's October 1st, so it's December the 31st.
Comes
Pressure's
around.
on now.
But no, I really have made more progress here in a few weeks than I have months training myself. Like, it took me, when I very first started properly training with barbells, it took me literally probably about 7 months to go from squatting 60 to about 120.
Yeah.
And in the 5 weeks here, after a year off of getting really out of shape, you know, rehabbing an injury, I've gone from not being able to back squat to comfortably doing 120, and we don't even know what my upper limit is yet, because I haven't completely maxed out. Like, so yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Come on, Kev, let's go. Big breath, come on.